how did you find that sweet spot of the length of the film that you felt I've said enough, or are there certain scenes that you wish you could have included, or you had to, other than station to station, or you felt like there's so much more material, or it's just complete?
I went into it with thinking there was going to be an intermission. It's David Bowie, you know. I wanted it to be epic, and you know, the documentary Lawrence of Arabia, you know, like just this big screen, you know, and going into it, clearly the man had a life that if anyone is going to warrant that sort of treatment, it's Bowie. And in fact, there's still remnants of that. The version of Signet Committee that ends the 70s section, if you will, was intended to be the curtain draw. You know, he goes, I want to live, I want to live, I want to live. Dun, 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 dun. Boom! Ladies and gentlemen, there will be a 15-minute intermission. And to be honest, the first part of the film up to there was the length it needed to be in order to get to the intermission. The second part of the film, as I said, I ended up recognizing when I got to Space Boy that I said what I needed to say, and it was not going to be necessary to have a intermission. But again, the idea was that this is, you know, and I screened for a few people. It was very difficult to try to get during the pandemic people to come here and see the film. And I was cognizant of the length, but I was also keenly aware that if a majority of people had reported back that the film felt short, I was going to lengthen it, because I did not want that to be the takeaway, that it felt short, that it should feel, like I said, like a meal. When we finished the film, the US distributor Neon set up a test screening at IMAX in Lincoln Square. And they showed me the questions before. And one of the questions was, is the film too short, just right, or too long? And I was like, guys, you can take that one off there. I made the film. It's long. Like I'm the first to tell you, it's a long film. And it's particularly long, I think, you know, because you're participating, you know, you're asked to engage with it. So it's not just a watch. I mean, 2 hours and 50 minutes is not that long by blockbuster standards. You know, I mean, Avatar, I'm going to go see today, hopefully, is, you know, I heard passes the 3-hour mark, as I think every Marvel film tends to these days. So, but I'm bored out of I get, you know, those films are all way too long for me anyway, and not in a good way. So it is what it is, you know, it's the length that it needed to be. I don't think it could have been a minute longer. And when I hear people say it's too long, I'm like, show me where to cut, because I don't see it right now. I mean, there's the whole film are moments that you could say could be exercised, because there's not, like, they're intangible. They're intangibles, you know. So there are these like little, you probably could have removed something, but it's a house of cards. The whole thing would have collapsed, in my mind, at least.